Okay, so today we're going to dive into a scientific trial that has, well, completely shattered what people thought was possible for agricultural productivity. We're talking about a brand new, data-driven recipe that's unlocking yields we've just never seen before for high-tech medicinal crop growers. So, how'd they pull it off? Let's get into it. Just look at this. I mean, wow. This incredible result isn't some happy accident or a lucky one-off harvest. It is the direct product of a precise, repeatable, and scientifically validated process. The big takeaway here is that these kinds of yields aren't just a fantasy. They're actually achievable if you follow a specific formula. So, what's the big problem this science is trying to solve in the first place? Well, it all boils down to what you could call the grower's dilemma. You know, as the medicinal crop industry gets more and more professional, the pressure is really on. Commercial growers are facing this massive challenge, right? How do you scale up your whole operation to produce more, but actually make money doing it? It means every single harvest has to be reliable, efficient, and super predictable. And let me tell you, that is a really tough balancing act. So to tackle this dilemma, researchers came up with and tested a whole new approach. And we can think of it like a three-part recipe for success. It turns out, when you combine these three ingredients, you get this incredibly powerful system for boosting yield and performance.
The first ingredient is the foundation of the whole thing, Grodin stone wool. Now, instead of soil, this gives you a completely inert substrate. Think of it like a perfectly blank canvas. This gives growers this amazing, precise control over the water, the nutrients, the oxygen, everything in the root zone. It makes it highly steerable.
All right, on to ingredient number 2, the genetics. In this study, they moved away from the old-school methods like using cuttings and instead went with F1 hybrid autoflower seeds. And this is a huge deal. These seeds are basically the new gold standard in a bunch of other major crops, and now they're bringing that same level of performance and predictability to this industry.
So what makes these seeds such a game changer? Well, for starters, they're more genetically uniform, which just means you get more consistent plants across the board. They're also auto-flowering, which means they flower based on age, not because you change the light cycle. This makes lighting way simpler and allows for lightning-fast turnarounds. We're talking about 5.7 crop cycles per year. Plus, as Frank Johnson from Grodin points out, you can get rid of those space-hogging mother rooms and turn that area into more production space. It's a win-win.
And the final ingredient, the technique that ties it all together, is called crop steering. This is where that steerable stone wool really shines. By using sensors like the GrowSense suite, growers can see exactly what's happening in the root zone in real time. Then they can use super precise irrigation to send specific signals to the plant, basically telling it whether to focus on leafy growth or, and this is the important part, flower production. It's all about active, data-driven management. So, you've got the substrate, the genetics, and the technique. Let's check out the breakthrough experiment where researchers put this powerful three-part recipe to the ultimate test.
This all went down during trial number 5 at the CRIC Research Center up in Canada. This is a super high-tech facility where they can control every little environmental variable. And to make sure the science was rock solid, they even used a randomized plant layout. That way they knew that where a plant was sitting in the room wouldn't mess with the results.
During the trial, the researchers were basically pulling two main levers to see what would happen. First, the nutrient level, which they measure by electrical conductivity, or EC. They simply tested a lower concentration versus a higher one. The second lever was the watering volume, or shot size. They strategically bumped up the amount of water in each irrigation as the plants grew, starting with a small 1% shot and going all the way up to 4.5% of the substrate's volume.
Okay, so the experiment is up and running. The levers are being pulled, and the results? They were just massive. But even more than that, they uncovered some really surprising truths about what these plants actually need to go from just surviving to truly thriving.
First off, the big headline number. The average annual yield of dry flowers across all 8 of the different test groups was a staggering 9.7 kilograms per square meter. I mean, that is just a phenomenal level of productivity, no matter which little tweaks they were making.
But hold on, that was just the average. 4 of the 8 test groups did even better, blowing past the 10 kilograms per square meter mark. This just goes to show you what the new ceiling for what's possible really looks like.
And this chart just brilliantly shows the scale of this breakthrough. It compares the results from trial 5 to the 4 trials that came before it. As you can see, this isn't some small incremental improvement. It's a massive leap forward in performance. They definitely stumbled onto something special here.
But here's the kicker. This is the most counterintuitive and honestly probably the most important discovery they made.
So which group do you think produced the highest yield? It wasn't the one getting blasted with more nutrients, no way. It was the complete opposite. The plants that got the lower nutrient concentration, they're the ones that produced the higher yield. Wild, right?
This discovery just completely busts a common myth in the industry. Like Grodan's Chad Rigby says here, a lot of growers have this idea that more equals more, and they just keep pushing nutrient levels higher and higher. This research proves that not only is that a waste of money and fertilizer, but it can actually drag your final yield down. The key is finding the right balance, not just using brute force.
So what does this all mean? The crucial takeaway is that these results signal a huge shift in how we should think about cultivation. It's all about precision, control, and data. In short, the future of high-tech farming is totally steerable.
I love this analogy from Frank Janssen. It perfectly explains why all this precision is so critical. Because these autoflowers have such a short and intense life, there's just no time to recover from mistakes. It's exactly like a hurdle race. Every single day, every single detail has to be perfect. You miss one hurdle, and the race is pretty much over for you.
And here's the best part. This isn't just some theory that only works in a lab. The researchers are really confident that these results can be replicated in any high-tech facility that uses what's called Controlled Environment Agriculture, or CEA. Basically, if you have a setup where you can precisely control the climate, manage irrigation, keep an eye on the root zone with sensors, and use the right genetics, you've got the tools you need to do this.
This right here is what it looks like when all those pieces come together perfectly. It's a snapshot of a thriving, uniform, and unbelievably productive grow room. This isn't just a theory anymore. It's a proven blueprint for the high-yield, high-efficiency farm of tomorrow.
Which, of course, leaves us with one last really exciting question. By combining a precision substrate, next-gen genetics, and data-driven crop steering, we've unlocked a whole new frontier of productivity. So if yields like this are possible today, it really makes you wonder, what on earth will the next harvest bring?